Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast, where we invite founders and digital marketers alike to discuss software and strategies to help you scale your business. I'm your host, Chris L. Davis, the founder of Automation Bridge. And today I have Jack Arturo from WP Fusion. So Jack is a WordPress developer specializing in CRM systems and marketing automation tools. And for the last 7 years, he's been working on WP Fusion. If you have not heard of it, you're going to be thankful for this podcast by the time we're done. And it is a tool for deeply integrating your WordPress site with your marketing automation platform. We're going to be discussing exactly what that looks like. Why is it beneficial to you? And how does WP Fusion enable marketing automation for your WordPress website? Jack, welcome to the podcast, man. I'm so excited to have you on. How are you doing?
Thanks, Chris. Doing pretty well, thanks.
Yes. So, quick backdrop, everyone. I've interviewed Jack prior when at my time at Active Campaign, and in the moment I was using a different plugin, and years later comes around, and I revisit WP Fusion as a WordPress plugin, and it just unlocked so many capabilities, so many possibilities. That's what I want to talk highlight today on the episode. And I said, you know what? I'm having too much fun. This is this is adding too much value to my business. I can't keep it to myself. So now Jack is here, the man himself, the creator of the plugin. So Jack, give us a little bit about your journey into getting to the point of developing WP Fusion.
So I've been working in WordPress for 10 or 12 years now, a long time. Actually, my entire professional career. And I started out like people do, building websites for clients, and then got into, of course, you can charge more if you're in a specific niche. So I got more into doing online learning platforms, and then started doing a lot of work with Infusionsoft and became an Infusionsoft consultant. And for a few years, there's just were these integration projects that kept coming up over and over again. It was like, we're running a course in LearnDash or wherever, and we need to automatically engage with the students in Infusionsoft or follow up with abandoned cards or assigned teachers or whatever. And these platforms didn't really link with each other. There were a couple options available at the time, but they weren't really extensible. You could buy an all-in-one membership system back then that would deliver the courses and send the emails, but you couldn't mix and match components in the ways that we were looking for, that my clients felt like they needed. Out of this kind of just components that I was using over and over again for clients, I created the first version of WP Fusion, which was just designed to link up whatever you were using for your member directory with your Infusionsoft mailing list. And kind of our unique take on it at the time was that you could be using Ultimate Member or User Pro or MemberPress or any membership plugin, and we would just handle the sync of the members. We didn't mess around with the front end of your site or change the look and feel of anything. We were just kind of trying to stay in our lane and create the solution for keeping your membership list in sync with your mailing list. And I kind of thought that would just be a sort of fun little side project and sort of a lead generation strategy for new clients. But there are a lot of plugins and there are a lot of membership solutions out there, and so every couple of weeks it would be, well, this is really good, but we need to get some data out of XYZ member or whatever, and so we'll add that in, and so worked on that for a couple of years, and then a lot of people started coming forward and saying, well, yeah, looks great, but it's just for Infusionsoft. Could we do the same thing with Active Campaign? And thought, why not? Rebuilt the whole thing, made it platform agnostic, and so now that's what I'm working on full time for almost 8 years now. We support like 115 different WordPress plugins, and then you can sync data bidirectionally with any one of 55 different marketing automation tools. And it's not like it's not the next like Microsoft or whatever, but we've got a good solution in our niche. There's always people who are delivering courses and memberships in WordPress, and they need to do marketing through these marketing automation tools. So it's kept me quite busy. Now I've got a small team, and yeah, it's been really an exciting journey.
It is. It's admirable to see it. I mean, you're listing off some of these membership platforms, and anybody who's been in the marketing automation space for 7 to 8 years knows. Back then, in Infusionsoft, I think they had what was it called? Customer
Yeah,
Hub.
they had Customer Hub. They had their own community
Yep.
thing, and it wasn't
Yep.
very good.
They
Yeah.
had Customer Hub, then Office Auto Entreport was Office Autopilot back then,
Right. Yeah.
and they
Hmm.
had a WordPress plugin.
Yep.
And to just to be honest,
They
they were
still
all
do. It's still not very good. Yeah.
it's just
Exactly.
terrible, man, just
Yeah.
terrible. And they
Yeah.
got away with it back then because membership sites were so rare. They were just kinda like, if you had one, you were like a master online
Right.
marketer. It's like, wow.
Right.
And technology evolves, and these membership plugins like Ultimate Member, S2 Member, Member Press,
Yeah.
Member Mouse.
Yeah. Member mounts we used to do. We don't even hear about that one anymore.
I
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
man.
Yeah. Totally. Hmm.
I remember building systems using all of these
Yeah.
different membership plugins. And there was some point, and I know that you were saying around the time where people were like, "Hey, can you do this beyond Infusionsoft?" There was an inflection point in the marketing automation space where the cloud just really opened up the playing field, you know?
Yeah, and I think, yeah, this was Infusionsoft was so bad, and it didn't get updates for so long, and it was so expensive. I mean, they'd lock you into 48-month contracts.
Yeah.
Um, you couldn't even find out the pricing. You had to get on a sales call with a sales rep. It was just terrible to work with. And yeah, so I
Yeah.
think finally some people decided, hey, we can do a better job than this. And I feel like it was ActiveCampaign was the first one that like really stood out to me. But around that time, you know, like Drip, Intercom,
Yep.
yeah, a few of these like more lightweight, more friendly, upfront, less sleazy sales tactics. Yeah, these platforms started showing up, and now Infusionsoft is trying to catch up to what they lost with Keep, but
Yeah.
I'm still not super impressed with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's a fun little corner of the internet to be working in because it's always changing. There's
Yeah.
always a top platform. There's always somebody's seeing what could be done better and releasing a new product, or like Buddy Boss we were talking about,
Mhm.
forking an existing product and improving it. So yeah, there's always more to do. It's fun.
Yeah, and I need to warn my listeners here. This is going to be a bit more of a technical conversation because I absolutely love the functionality that's provided via WP Fusion, given its sync, not sync, two-way sync abilities. But I also want to highlight the membership plugins back then were really one way.
Yeah,
Like
right.
if you had it, you had to tell them somebody had access, and all of the access and provisions stayed within that membership. It did
Yep,
not send it back out and tell you things that were happening, not easily at least. So getting them to the membership site was the struggle. And then once they were in the membership site, that's where everything took place, you know?
right.
So now your plugin was the first that showed a true two-way sync. Hey, look, they're in here doing something. You want to know what they did and send it back to your CRM system. Would you like that?
Yep,
And it's like, wait a minute, this starts to unlock all types of marketing because now I can tag somebody when they complete a course that
yep,
feeds back into my CRM system. And now I can fire off emails, internal notification. It just opens up the entire playing field. And
yep.
I did not know such things existed, honestly, until Active Campaign. So I think Active Campaign has kind of been that inflection point, what it sounds like, because it was so flexible and the API was so much more easier to deal with. That's at least that's what I hear from developers from
Yeah, it
Entreport and
was really a breath of
Infusionsoft.
fresh air. Like it just worked. It was reliable for the most part. Yeah, it was really amazing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So for you, I'm gonna do a quick 1 minute catch up for anybody who is like, what is this magic they're talking about? WordPress powers more than half of the websites in the world right now. So it's open source software. You download WordPress onto your hosting, and now you can build a website. There's all kind of themes and stuff that you can do to get your website looking really nice. We focus on the back end. Anybody in marketing automation, we're all about the back end. How do we get the back end to function and support our marketing efforts? So usually what will happen is if you're dealing with the LMS, like a previous episode, we had Chris Badgett on of Lifter LMS, plugin that goes into your WordPress website. You've got a learning environment now. And as if you just want to log into your learning environment and see everything, that's fine. So those of you may have be using something like Teachable, Kajabi. Those are platforms that are outside of WordPress. And you go in there, you see what you can see, and you don't get much out.
Mhm.
Maybe a tag, maybe a contact added to a list. So what WP Fusion does is goes a level deeper. Imagine this. You have a online website that's maybe a membership site or a learning portal, and there's an intake form. You want to get more information about your students, so when they enroll in your course, they tell you what they're interested in, the last level of education they've completed, just a regular form that's filled out. Now, usually to get that information into your CRM of some sort, you have to do like a Zapier integration, or maybe your form software has an add-on that you can get into your CRM, all of those things. And the beauty of WP Fusion is it really takes care of all of this stuff for you automatically both ways. So even in the event you do get a plugin for your form, they fill it out and it sends it over to your CRM. What about when something happens in your CRM and you collect information on your website? Wouldn't it be nice to get that information on website A and populate it in website B of the membership portal? As I'm saying it, what the true functionality I've just described is really of more of a progressive profiling. So
Yeah.
now they're in the membership site and you're getting information. They're on your website, you're getting information, and everything is in sync.
Yeah, exactly. And you use the example of a sign-up form. We could send that data over to the CRM and run some calculations on it, and then use that to assign a one-on-one coach automatically. And then that coach assignment can be used back in WordPress to unlock a member center that is owned and controlled by that coach, or to trigger a pop-up saying, your coach has been assigned and her name is this, and this is how to contact her, that kind of thing. So yeah, it is you can sort of move that business intelligence out to the third-party tool, and then it calculates the results and then personalizes the experience in WordPress later. Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
that's
So you all
that's
have
cool.
to be able to now see that whatever takes place online and sends information into your CRM, you can now customize that in your membership portal or your learning management. That's really the biggest benefit is when they're logged in. Because you
Yeah.
can, I mean, the experience is like none other that you can really customize. And I want to talk about some of the features. So that was the catch up, everyone. And now we're just going to go a level deeper. If you're like, wait a minute, show me the way, slow down, pause this. You can rewind it. You can do all of those things. But we're going for the digital marketer in this episode that's got a bit more acumen. So I want to talk about some of the features. Okay, we
Mhm.
talked about the custom fields two-way sync, which is great, by the way. Amazing. I in my learning management system, I've got all of these user meta keys, just custom fields that I've created. But I say user meta because I'm taking Gravity form submissions and I'm actually storing them in the database of
Okay. Yeah.
WordPress so I can recall them. My
Mhm.
students fill out worksheets. So I don't want you, if you've already filled that answer in module 3, I don't want you to have to fill it in again in module 6. I want
Nice.
you to
Right. Yep.
refer to it and maybe update it
Mhm.
because you learned something, right? So that's the reason I have to store it into the WordPress database. To my surprise, when I installed WP Fusion, you identified all of that user data,
Right.
and just with one click of a button said, "Hey, do you want to send this to your CRM? Do you
Mhm.
want to sync this with a custom field in your CRM?" And that alone, Jack, as advanced as I get at times, I never even thought of that as a possibility. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
all of this information is stored in the learning management system. Wait a minute, I can easily get it out, because otherwise I had to do like Zapier and Gravity Forms add-ons, and it just got a lot to manage. But
Mhm.
this one, you pull in all custom, no matter how they come in. You
Yeah.
could have 4 different, foreign plugins. You'll see all of it and just say, "Hey, where do you want me to send it?"
Mhm.
And that alone, I guess what I'm talking about is the you're doing advanced functionality, but it's so easy.
Yeah.
Configure it.
It's funny because that seems like the simplest thing to me, but of course I've been in it for 8 years, so I can't see the forest for the trees anymore. But yeah, that's
Yes.
the idea, right?
Yep, and now I can say if somebody answers a question a certain way, that can trigger marketing. I can
Right.
now do upselling, I can put special offers in front of them, all automated. It just unlocked a whole different realm, and I was like, "Wow, just making that easier." I didn't realize that, right? So
Right.
I'm also gonna mention something else that was simple to you, that's gonna be simple to you, that was refreshing, and it is when you have users in WordPress, you go to users and it lists all of them based on user roles and everything like that, technical stuff. But when you go to their profile, what I really appreciate about WP Fusion is that you've linked. I'm speaking active campaigner. You've
Mhm.
linked to the active campaign contact record. So
Yeah, that's
right,
actually new. That's a new that
oh
didn't
my,
occur to us until a few months ago. But yeah, it's really handy, right? I use it all the time now. Yeah,
I
totally.
did. It's like you go without. Like, you go without something for so long, you don't even realize what you're missing because
Right.
you've never, I guess, not even go without, you just never had it. It's like, "Hey, have you ever had steak this way?" And you're like, "Oh,
Right.
you can cook steak that way?" And I'm just going through because you do a lot of troubleshooting. "Hey, I don't have access to this course. Hey, what happened?" You go to the profile in WordPress, and right there, it's the number, their contact ID, and I was like, "I wonder what happens if I click this link." And it took me to active cam I can literally pulled up their active campaign account. Furthermore, Jack, you also allow the user to modify the tags on their contact record within WordPress. So
Hmm.
I don't, because usually what I'm doing is I'm either adding or taking a tag away.
Yeah.
That's really the main functionality. I can do it all there right within WordPress without even having to leave.
Yeah. Or a big reason for that is we often have people who are assistants on the site who like work for the company
Yep.
but don't necessarily have access to the CRM. So if they need to make
Yeah.
a quick adjustment to the membership level or something, you can do all that within WordPress. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the exact case. Because I had an operations manager, I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm trying to simplify my SOPs." So, simplify the places to go and just
Yeah.
eliminate error. So that was great. That was just amazing. And these are everybody, what we're talking about is the functionality of tightly integrating your CRM with your WordPress based learning system, learning management environment, or membership. Most of the
Mhm.
time they're
Yeah.
both. So these are just little things, and the reason why tags are important, everybody, is because if you didn't know, you can now with the aid of WP Fusion, if you sold a course, it doesn't even have to be on your website like WooCommerce or anything like that. You can sell it anyway. If
Mhm.
in your CRM, by selling that course, the contact gets a tag, that tag can now automatically enroll somebody into a course. And this is big because a lot of people are try to figure out when they first do a learning management system, how do I get them their user credentials? How do they log in? How do I create a form that they
Mhm.
log
Yep.
into? So just with the tag, they'll
Yep.
get access to the course that they've enrolled in, and it gets really robust because you can have multiple tags for courses. I won't get too technical, but you can link them. But then you could also add another layer that says, "Hey, and if they have any of these tags, give them access to this as well."
Mhm.
And that's really across the board for the membership.
Yeah, and I've mentioned we've got, I think, 115 plugin integrations and probably almost 300 different points where you can require some tags or apply some tags or, yeah, auto enroll into courses or protect pages, menu items, widgets, basically any aspect of WordPress can be personalized using tags.
Yeah, yeah, and I wanna keep going down this exploration because many of you have a WordPress learning management environment or membership environment, and you're doing it the hard way. I'm just gonna tell you. So if you I use Elementor, it's one of the top page builders, but it also works with just regular Gutenberg WP Fusion. And what you can do, everybody, just dream with me for a little bit. you can set the elements on your page. Let's say you dropped a video element on your page, a call to action element on your page. WP Fusion integrates with it. So if you go to the advanced settings, you can now select whether or not to show that element if they have a particular tag or not. So it gets really, it takes some customer journey mapping, because don't just go
You can
add.
make a mess. Yeah. You got to be careful. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh man, you can get some blank pages. I'm like, where's my content? Or you can get some
Yeah.
pages that have everything, and you're like, why is it showing everything? So it definitely takes some mapping. But when we talk about personalizing, think about the Amazon effect, right? You go to Amazon, and based on what you've purchased, they're now showing you other things that you may like. They've got your name. Hey, welcome back, Chris. You can pull that type of experience off now and say, okay, since you completed this course, start this one. And it only shows because you applied the tag when they completed the course, and the tag now reveals another element on the page or on their dashboard that they didn't have.
Yep.
I'm talking about it in the sense of functionality, Jack, but the motive is customer experience. That just
Right.
enhances the experience that your customers have as they're learning or logging in to your
Yeah, we
business.
want to keep students and members on your site engaged for longer, coming back more often. Of course, by being able to track all of this stuff, we can say if somebody doesn't log in for a week, or if somebody only completes the first lesson and then doesn't come back and try the second one, then we can also engage them via email or via text message. So in the end, the student doesn't notice any of this stuff. It just magically keeps them engaged with your content.
Yes, yes. And I will say, as a owner of the website and the learning experience, it has just I can it feels lighter. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes you can be using tech that just feels heavy. Sometimes you
Absolutely.
dread going in because it's like, oh, what was I doing again? You got to recall all of the stuff. It just feels lighter, and it feels like my students. It's an easier experience for them as well. Like, I migrated, and I was like this, like, oh, I hope I didn't break anything. Everybody on my team's ready for all of the support tickets to come in.
Right.
Jack, I had maybe 2 or 3 tickets.
That's great. Good to
2 or
hear.
3 tickets.
Not everyone has that easy, but we try. I mean, that's the goal. We try. We try.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and so, but to your benefit, WP Fusion is a paid plugin, but you guys have a free light version.
Yep.
And that light version took care of all of my needs in terms of getting it configured.
Yep.
So by the time I got everybody over, I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this was
You
great.
can
It
do quite
was
a
a
lot with free.
no-brainer,
Yeah.
and I went straight for the lifetime, Jack. I didn't even play. I said, nope, I'll give you the lifetime
Nice.
access. I'm gonna be using this for the foreseeable future. So when you look at from your perspective, I know I- I'm probably a little too excited because it's been
That's great.
working
I love it.
so well for me. But I do want to give you the floor. When you look at, you've got 8 years plus of development in this plugin. What are some of the most common trends that you've seen that people are just like, oh my gosh, WP Fusion is so great? What are those things that you see come up time and time again?
Yeah, that's a good question. People use it for a lot of different things.
Yeah,
Like you mentioned, personalizing dashboards
yeah.
and that kind of thing is very common. Another thing we're doing a lot of lately is personalizing actual course content. So
Mm,
what you could do is give somebody an assessment survey when they first sign up, and if you determine that they need some extra help with your content, you could tag them as beginner. And WP Fusion would let you go into your Lifter LMS or Learn Dash courses and say that these lessons are only required for people with that beginner tag.
mm.
Um, so we call that adaptive learning, is what somebody told me it is. I'm just the tech side of it. But
Right.
anyway, so the idea being that you can create sort of like personalized learning paths for people based on these tags, which, as you mentioned, are quite flexible, and you can even calculate, based on quizzes or surveys and that kind of thing. So that's a really common one. I mean, another just like standard but very common use case is abandoned cart tracking. So we
Yeah.
we have a very like simplified version of abandoned cart tracking. We don't have any email templates included or anything fancy like that, but we let you apply and remove tags in your CRM based on whether or not someone currently has an abandoned cart. And then that lets you do whatever you want in terms of following up with them. Um, that's really common. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we kind of 50-50, I would say. Half of customers sort of fall into the bracket that you've described, which is membership and LMS together,
Mhm.
usually with some kind of social layer like Buddy Boss. And then the other 50% are just using WP Fusion for e-commerce. Like we have a lot of just standard like online retailers. They're using Salesforce or Zoho or HubSpot is really popular, and they just need to get like the WooCommerce order data into the CRM, send those post-order follow-up emails like, hey, would you leave us a review, send abandoned cart reminders, that kind of thing. And so that's a big part of our business as well, as just facilitating that e-commerce store email automation.
Yeah, and that's a huge one because a lot of times, if you are using a platform like a HubSpot or something like that, they don't have any e-commerce functionality in there,
Right.
and they don't need it. They're not
Yeah.
purposed for that. But to get the data out from an e-commerce platform into it, is you all make it so easy. One of the things that I find extremely valuable, and I go through your documentation. So I'm weird, Jack. I like to read companies' documentation. It's
I'm like that too. I love it. I love reading. I can't sit through a 5-minute video, but I'll read
but I'll
documentation
read the
for
document.
hours.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
don't feel weird. I
Yeah.
like I can spend time with it. I like, okay, let me
Yeah.
go get a drink, lay down on the couch,
Open
get
up 40 or
comfortable,
50 tabs. Yeah. Exactly.
and read through some
Yeah.
documentation. And great documentation is hard to find. You guys do a really good job, but you just recently released a feature, and I want all my listeners to know about it. It's the events tracking add-on. And this
Yes.
is really twofold. And what it allows you to do is, say somebody completed a course, you can now put the name of the last course they completed in a custom field. You can put the score of the last quiz they completed in a custom field. And I won't go too deep because there's a lot of advanced tactics there. But one of the things along with the event tracking is, if I'm using LearnDash, and what happens is I can sync their progress of any course, the percentage they're complete, to a custom field.
Mhm.
And why am I saying this, everybody? Why do you hear a bit of excitement in my voice? Because prior to this, what I had to do is tag every lesson complete. So I could see you completed lesson 1, 2, and 3. But listen, after you have maybe 6 or 7 courses, you forget how many lessons are in each course. What does
Yeah.
completed
It's a
3
huge
mean?
mess. Yeah.
Is that 3 out of 4?
Exactly.
Is it 3 out of 7? So now I can see in my CRM, Jack, 100%,
Yeah.
25%, 50%. Not just that, I can also start automation. When someone's halfway through this course, get feedback, right? When
Yeah.
they're
Exactly.
75% through, send another email, because we all know that last 20% sometimes could just be like getting
Mhm.
through quicksand for a lot of people. So maybe I want to incentivize them. Hey, here's a $20 gift card if you finish this week. There's all kind of gamification and marketing that's unlocked just by passing the progress
Yes.
percentage of their learning into the CRM.
Yeah, and then another thing we're doing with that too is, in Active Campaign, you have the activities feed on the right side that shows their
Yep.
page views. So I've found we're using the event tracking on our site. I find that really useful just to get a sense of like the temperature of a customer, because I can see now with the events chronologically submitted a pre-sales question, viewed the checkout page, added a product to the cart, abandoned it, did or didn't open this email. I can see if they did upgrade. Did it take a day? Did it take a week? All that stuff is shown chronologically along the side of the rest of their data.
Yeah.
So it's been super helpful just to see like, okay, like this lead is really warm, or this person's maybe on the fence with us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
this is so what you all are seeing is turning your membership learning portal, whatever you want to call it, into an ongoing lead generating. By lead generating, I mean a customer for product A can be a lead for product B,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So once a
Mhm.
customer is not always a customer, it's like, okay, you bought A, now you're a lead for the next product. And you have this environment now that's always warming them, keeping them warm, keeping them ready, keeping you informed with what they're doing so you understand your avatar. You
Yeah.
understand what people are doing and what they're looking for from you.
And I mean, of course, it all sounds complicated to set up, but when you've had a automated setup running like this for a while, you don't need to. It doesn't require much input from you as a site owner. You set up if somebody fails to get a login or password, and reminder can go to the admin to check on it.
Yeah.
If somebody's close to buying but abandons, you can get a notification. So you set up all these processes at the beginning, which is a bit of work, but then your site runs itself and is generating sales for you. So yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, you listeners of the podcast know I tell you, the dream of automation is take your hands off of it. It just does what you want it to do. That's not the case for a lot of you. A lot of you, there's a little more work involved, a little more maintenance, a little more monitoring. I will say one of my greatest achievements has been automating my learning management environment.
Mhm.
Because Jack, you're right. Once you have it mapped out, now I use Airtable and all of these other tools to map things out and make
Mhm.
sure it's appropriate. But once you have it in there, you are 100% true. Like it runs itself, and the experience does is not sacrificed at all. It's like one of the best systems that I've built, and I'm extremely proud of. I just okay, I have to say this one thing, and it may border too advanced, but I want to put it out there because I trust my listeners, Jack. I do. I trust my listeners. I want to talk about this feature that as a marketer, I'm just like, is Jack doing this on purpose? Or is he just the luck of being a great developer? You've got an auto login feature.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, everybody, just listen to how this works. Auto login is not new. It's when when you click a link and you're logged into a website without having to put in your username or password. Okay, many companies do this, and you just don't realize that it's taking place. But for you, for most people, you have to go to the login page, put in your username and password to get access. So you have it to where WP Fusion again integrates with probably every WordPress based form builder that I've seen or I've used. Even some strange ones. I'm like, wow, Jack, how did
Yeah.
you find how did you
Yeah.
find that one? Where did that come from? So as long as WP Fusion is integrated with it, what happens is I can now send people to this page. Let me put it like if I fill out a form, let's say a lead form. Let
Mhm.
me pull all the way back. You've got lead magnets on your website and you have a members area. When someone downloads a specific lead magnet, you can have that form automatically log them into the members area where if that's where you want to deliver it. So somebody may say this, Chris, why would I want them logged into my members area to access this free content instead of just giving it to them on a thank you page or delivering it via email? And I had that same question, everybody. I did. But once I experienced how Jax coded the auto login feature, I was like, oh my good. The implications are endless. So watch this. What happens is Jack will log WP Fusion. I'm saying it like you're doing it, Jack.
I'm
W,
over here. I do all of it. Yeah.
right? WP Fusion will log you in automatically. They fill out the form. The next page they see is the page where they can download their freebie, but they're actually logged in. And what WP Fusion has done is it's logged them in as a guest. So they're not actually a user yet in the your WordPress installation. But guess what? Every page they go to, every link that they click, everything that they do, it's tracked
Mhm.
and passed back to the CRM. So why would I want to send them to my members area? Because now you can offer other things that they may have access to. You can let them window shop but not go in.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see everything that they're interested in as a lead. They don't
Yeah.
even have a true access in to the membership site, but since they downloaded that lead magnet, you auto log them in as a guest, and you can protect pages with tags and certain things but you can also let them see stuff so you can tell what they're interested in.
Yep. Yeah, that's a funny because you're probably familiar with Memberium, and I think iMember 360. They
Yep.
have a similar system, but it really logs members into their real member accounts. And
Yes.
we always had people asking for that, and the security person in me did not want to ever create a system that would let someone just log in as an administrator. So this idea of logging somebody into like a guest account that just has their tags and the tracking came up as a compromise. If it's really important, like editing saved credit cards, then they can use a username and password. But if it's just, browsing a lead magnet or a sample of the membership area, why not just allow that via a link? So then that's turned out actually really well and turned out to have a lot more flexibility than requiring everybody to have a real user account. Because now you can send out a blast to 10,000 people on your email list, and they can all have a personalized experience inside your website, but you don't have to create user accounts for them. They don't have
Yeah.
passwords. Everything's cleaned up after 24 hours. So yeah, that's one of those things that just sort of people were asking for it. We came up with a compromise and functionality, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and I feel like the compromise should be the standard, and here's why, Jack. When I was doing it, because I use other platforms, I was of the mindset that every time someone logged in, a profile was created.
Right.
So now I naturally go and think, how do I manage these profiles? I
Yeah.
don't want thousands of users in my WordPress
Right.
installation. And I went to go look and said, okay, maybe there's a plugin that I can manage users, see when the last time they logged in. Well, there's not a lot. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of plugins that allow you to see the activity of your users. I found a couple paid ones, but I was like, wow, this is concerning. But then I was like, well, where is the test
Yeah. Right.
profile that I use? And initially I was about to create a support ticket. I was like, Jack, it's not working. You're not creating a user. And I said, wait a minute. I don't think I want you
Better
to
check the
create a
documentation on this one. Yeah. Right.
and I went to the documentation and it talked about they're signed in as a guest. So
Mhm.
all of the protections of pages are still intact. However, everything that they do is tracked in the
Yeah.
CRM.
Right.
And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's genius!" Because now I don't have to manage
Yeah.
their who's active in
Mhm.
my WordPress because WordPress just makes that part hard. I can do that in my CRM, and everybody can get temporary access to this logged in area. And for those of you who are just like, oh, but I don't want to give somebody ongoing access, you can also use a tag. And upon applying this tag, it doesn't matter if they fill out an auto login form or not. If they have this particular tag, they won't be able to log in.
Mhm.
They just won't. So you're in full control.
Yep.
Full control. You can give somebody a 7-day preview. You can, I
Yeah,
mean, there are
well, for
so many
example, we'll
things.
set it up so that we'll set a coupon in WooCommerce so that the coupon is automatically applied as long as they have the tag. And then we'll apply a tag, an
Ooh.
active campaign, send them an auto login link. So as soon as they click the link, they get an automatic discount. But then we'll just remove that tag after 7 days and the coupon actually no longer works. Don't have to worry about different codes or anything. It's just a one-click link to get an automatic discount, and it expires based on whatever logic you choose. Yeah.
Yes. So listen, everybody, listen to what he just said. Dynamic expiring coupons. You can right now in the marketplace, it's not hard to find a coupon, set a date where it's active and set a date where it expires. That's not what Jack is talking about. Jack is talking about relative to the specific contact's journey.
Mhm.
Now they can have a coupon. Hey, as for joining our list for the next 7 days, enjoy 25% off. Better use it though. In 7 days, it's gone. And guess what? You have to do nothing because the
Mhm.
automation is going to wait 7 days and then remove the tag. The same link that they use takes them in, but no longer is the coupon
Yep.
applied. So
Yep.
I hope I'm doing just a decent job of showing you all the capabilities that you may have been going without. And
And then just to add on that, so with the coupon example, we could also set up a split test in ActiveCampaign and use a
Mhm.
goal if they use the coupon at the right time. And we could see what's most effective for urgency, 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, and then check the goal completions to figure out which of the split tests is winning and use that to further
Yes.
optimize the marketing.
Yes. It literally puts you in full control. So some of you, may I dare I say, your static learning or membership environment is what's holding you back from retaining more students, from selling more products to current students, and just overall more fluid functionality in flow. And the reason why, Jack, I'm so glad you were able to come on and kind of nerd out with me is because this type of functionality needs to be common in terms of implementing in the marketplace. And I feel like your plugin does a really good job. It's light. It feels light, Jack. I mean, of course, I wouldn't know how many lines of codes or whatever, but
Yeah, that's been a priority. Yeah,
okay.
keeping it light. Mhm.
It feels super light. It's really quick, and it's really easy to access. Like I just go to settings, WP Fusion, and everything is right there. Where other plugins, they've got like these
Yeah.
embedded menus, and you got to go to 5 different places to enable stuff. So it's easy to configure, and I believe if you have a WordPress based, which is my preference, everyone, WordPress based learning environment or a membership environment, I just don't see how you get the maximum out of it without something like WP Fusion, and not just sync the information, but it's also unlocking so much marketing automation capabilities. It's unparalleled anywhere else. I mean, there's so many CRMs. What would you say? I can go on for days. I know we need to quit in a little bit. But what would you say is at this moment, anecdotally, if you don't know, like for sure, but just kind of based on your feel of people signing up, what would you say the top CRM is so far?
Active campaigns are number one right now,
Okay.
followed by Infusionsoft, which is kind of a shrinking share of the pie, and then Ontraport, Drip, HubSpot are all in the top five. But yeah, Active
Okay.
campaigns number one by a pretty fair margin.
Yeah, it's really tough to beat a WP Fusion and Active Campaign combo. I mean,
Yep.
it's so powerful, man. So all right, Jack, you've had WP Fusion for 8 years, going on 9 into infinity. Hopefully, hopefully it never goes away. What do you have on the horizon? What are you eyeballing for the rest of the year? Is there any big updates, or is it just making sure the customer support is tight, the plugin stays lean, and is functional?
Um, Nothing crazy.
Mhm.
At the moment, we're working on a setup wizard to just sort of
Oh,
reduce the
nice.
number of overwhelming choices and gives you
Yeah,
some next steps after setting up.
yeah.
I feel like nowadays people are switching platforms so often. So we're going to put some time into creating a sort of migration utility that if you wanted to move from Active Campaign to try self-hosting on Fluent CRM or something, we would have a little assistant that moves all your tags and access rules over, so you can try out a
Mm.
membership site connected to another platform. Right now, it's a pretty manual process to switch everything, as you can imagine. So it's just stuff like that. Is like, how can we make things easier to understand for new users and reduce time spent doing repetitive tasks? How can we
I
make it
love it.
simpler, less confusing? Yeah,
Man, I love it, Jack. You know what? I never thought about it, but if we stuck with tags and custom fields, right? If I say, "Hey, I'm no longer using Active Campaign. I want to jump over into Fluent CRM,
right.
WordPress base. It's been growing, and
Yeah,
though I love all the automation, I just kind of need some simple email marketing, and this
yeah,
fits my needs, right?"
yeah,
Being able to say, "Okay, WP Fusion, I'm now in Fluent CRM," and it takes all of the tags that it's read in Active Campaign with a click of a button, generates them in Fluent
yeah,
CRM and the custom fields. And let's take it to the step that you have it. I don't have to sync all of my custom fields in WP Fusion. You give me a checkbox, and
yeah,
I could say sync this one, don't sync that one. If I did the checkbox, I want to sync all of these. That step alone, just getting all my tags over, all of my custom fields over, that's a huge leap for
yeah,
people who are migrating because it's
yeah.
that much more
Well, and
data that you don't
especially
have
if
to
you
worry
didn't
about.
have to redo all your tracking and everything, like if you have all of
Oh,
your videos and lessons and everything set up to track with tags, we'd like to, if possible, make it easy to automatically switch. Yeah.
yep, yep. Okay, everybody, I promise you I'm stopping, but Jack mentioned this, okay? It's his fault. And he said it so common too. It's just like, yeah, if you're tracking videos with tags, there's also the feature that you can tag users based on the amount of a video that they've watched.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can tag them when they started, tag them when they ended, and anywhere in between. So
Mhm.
let me in my final example, everybody. This is just giving you some insight on this is daily for me in my automation service provider program and all of that. This is stuff we nerd out about every day. But just imagine if now you wanted to deliver maybe a video series as your lead magnet and they do the auto login function. So they opt in on your website, they're auto logged in. Now WP Fusion integrates. I'm using Presto Player right now, and I'm really liking it. So
Yeah.
it's working really well,
Yeah.
and it's on a page, and they're watching the video, and based on how much of that video, tags are just being added to their account. So I can see
Yeah.
they've finished, they've started. Now I can my marketing for just this, say, 3-part video series is going to be so dynamic and so unique, and the completion rate is going to be out of this world in comparison to somebody who's just sending the email, hey, here's video 1, hey,
Mhm.
here's video 2. So that's another superpower. These are all what we would call more basic. So when Jack's like, oh, nothing major, but these
Right. Yeah.
small
It's all relative, isn't it? Now? Yeah.
right, these small features, they just unlock so much, not because of the feature itself, it's just because of how you implement it, Jack. I feel like, you're so ingrained with both WordPress and your platform because you haven't been removed. You're not one of those developing CEOs that are sitting on in a boardroom somewhere saying, "Hey guys, more users, come on, more
Right.
features,
Yeah. Yeah.
more users." You understand what the users are doing, what they need, and you understand the WordPress ecosystem. So it all makes sense to me why the plugin functions at such a high efficacy that it does.
And we use it for ourselves. So everything that we can make work better makes our site generate more sales too. So yeah.
Yes. All right, everyone. So just know it is taking all the strength in my body and my brain and in my heart to stop. But I don't want to overwhelm you all. Jack, if people want to find out more about WP Fusion, where should they go? Is there a community to join? What should they do?
Yeah. So we're at wpfusion.com, all one word. And also on Facebook, we've got a pretty active community with about 2,500 members. And the name of that is Marketing Automation for WordPress with WP Fusion. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So we'll have all of those links. Again, WP Fusion is a paid plugin, which please consider buying the plugin to support Jack and all of his efforts. However, they have a light version to get you started at no cost. So there's nothing preventing you right now to say, okay, Chris, while you're listening, just type in WP Fusion in the back end of your WordPress, click add new plugin,
Yep.
search WP Fusion. You'll see it, install it, and just test it out for yourself. Again, the support is top notch. There's a good chance Jack himself may answer your support ticket. So you want to make sure that when you have that level of support and documentation, that you pay attention to those type of tools, everybody. So that was the purpose. I hope you all got massive value out of today and just an insight on an average day of Chris. You see, when I get tools like this, I'm tinkering around, thinking of ways that I can enhance other people's marketing, so that they can get more out of it. So Jack, thank you for WP Fusion because it has been instrumental, and pivotal. So greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, yes. Anytime, Jack, and listeners, WPfusion.com. All right. By the way, it's a very nicely designed website as well. All right.
Thanks.
All right. I'm done, Jack. I promise I'm done. But thanks for coming on to the podcast, man. I appreciate it.